Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 9th Annual Accessibility Awareness Days event. I'm Sherry Gagno, and I'm the Accessibility Manager in the Office of Human Rights, Equity, and Accessibility, and the moderator for the event this week. Thank you for joining. I'm sitting in my office at the University of Windsor with windows behind me. I am a middle-aged woman with long brown hair and a light complexion, and I'm wearing a red blouse. This is the second of 5 short workshops with the theme Making U Windsor Accessible, where we will discuss initiatives, services, and resources available at the university. Throughout the event, tips will also be shared on what we can do to make the campus more inclusive. Each week, the presenters will share a 20-minute presentation, leaving time for a short question and answer period. Please type your questions in the Q&A box during the presentation, and we will address them at the end. Additionally, speakers may type in answers during the session. You may see in your menu bar 2 speech bubbles at the top. Click on that for the Q&A dialog box. Today's panel format includes a quick overview of a variety of technology tools available at the university. After the event, we will send out an information package with additional resources for those who wish to learn more. These sessions are recorded, so if you miss any, you will have a chance to view at a later time. If you require closed captioning, look for the 3 dots in the menu bar and scroll to the bottom of the drop-down menu and select Turn on Live Captions. This week's panel discussion is technology tools. The panelists are Mark Lubrick, Learning Specialist from the Office of Open Learning, talking about Equatio, Anthony Gomez, Accessibility Advisor and Assistive Technologist from Student Accessibility Services, who will introduce Read and Write software, Lori Stolarchuk, Learning Specialist from the Office of Open Learning, and she will be speaking about Yuja. Craig Brown, Computing Consultant from IT Services, will be discussing accessibility features in Office 365, and Mike Fisher, Manager of Web Services and System Support, will provide information on Drupal training. So I'll turn it over to our first presenter, Mark Lubrick.
Hi all, I'm Mark Lubrick. I'm a cis male with short black hair, light complexion, currently in a room with a lot of paintings behind me, and my cat, who I think is now going to leave. So I today get to talk to you about Equatio. This is a great tool for helping make digital math accessible, which is of course quite important. I'm going to drop a link in the Q&A that will hopefully help you later. That will let you download it. Us at the University of Windsor, we all get it for free, which is really nice. And that page will show you how. So Equatio shows up at the bottom of your window, and there's a variety of things you can do with it, not the least of which is write math. So if I type in, or have a math equation, let's start from scratch, I could use the prompting feature, which will find some formulas for me, including chemical equations as well. Or if I want to type from scratch, I can. So maybe I will make up an equation of t plus 5 divided by y cubed, why not? And I could have also, if I wanted to, go from a list of existing formulas, which I could search through. There's a ton of them in there, so I could have picked one, but I'm just using one I made up. And what can I do with that? If I want, I could insert that into the Word document I have right here, and there it is an actual editable digital math. I have a variety of other options too for formats. I could get an image, I could get latex. MathML is a very useful and important one, especially if I want to work with Blackboard. I've copied the MathML, and if I was to go to a Blackboard site, like many of us probably do, I could click the equation editor. I could click, maybe I have to refresh the page. There it is. Oh, my apologies, bear with me. Worked oh so well before, but let me log in. You can insert it into Blackboard, as you will see in just a moment. What I've done is I've copied the MathML, remember, and then if I was to say go to a resources area and build something like a blank page, when I click the equation editor, I will be able to insert it. All I have to do is do Control V, and I have the math there. Now, also one of the things that's useful is if I want, I can enter math a variety of ways. I can use LaTeX or learn LaTeX this way. I could handwrite it. I could speak it. And one thing that's very cool is the screenshot reader. If I go to somewhere with existing math, textbook, web page, any page at all, if I go to the math content, I can scan it. It will read the math out. So even if it's not an accessible page already, it will read it out for me. And if I want to, I can take that math and actually edit it in Quatio. So if I had students who need to do math homework from a page, they could take that, work with that math, and add to it over time. So maybe they start factoring this equation, there have it. One other really cool feature that I like is the Equatio Mobile. This one, I can click it, connect to my phone, so I log into both, and then I can use my phone to write math, speak math, enter it, or I can take a picture as well. So maybe I have students who've written out their assignment, they could take a picture, send it to their computer, and it would be there. The only other thing worth mentioning is that the spoken text, if you have a page that's not accessible, again, maybe take the scan, get your math, and ideally make it accessible with something like MathML. But if you needed to update, say, a page that already has a bunch of images, I could use the spoken text and it would actually give me the alt text for the math as well. And at this point, I think I will be passing it over to Anthony. Talk about read and write.
All right, thanks, Mark. My name is Anthony Gomez. Hopefully you can hear me all right. I am a male in somewhere in my 40s with a darker skin tone, and I'm wearing glasses, and I'm presenting from home. I was going to talk to you today about read and write. The University of Windsor actually owns a campus license of this tool. It was funded in collaboration with OREA via a grant about 2 years ago. And the fact that it's owned by the university means that it's free to all of our students, staff, and faculty. It looks very much like this. It's a multi-platform toolbar-based app, and allows users to work with all the tools, some of which I'll be going over quickly today, in a Google Doc, in Microsoft Word, or really anywhere where they're working with typed text. It integrates with Microsoft Office. Originally, it was designed for users who were dyslexic or struggle with reading, but we really found that it's helpful for all users, English language learners, certainly users with accessibility needs, really any student that wishes to interact with text either by listening to it or by dictating it. And it's been really timely. When this grant was originally secured, we had no idea that this pandemic was about to hit us. And so having this tool available to students remotely, I think, has been really beneficial. And they've been able to use it on, as I mentioned, on their iPads, Android tablets, Mac and Windows computers, and so on and so on. The first feature I'd like to go over again is the PDF reader and markup tool. This is built into Read and Write and works across all of their toolbars. And it's a really effective, no-nonsense text-to-speech interface. So you can listen to any text that you can see in a PDF. It's really handy for working through research articles, through really any sort of digital text. And it can be marked up. So TextHelp incorporates, or I should say Read and Write incorporates, a bunch of digital highlighter tools. Freehand drawing tools can be useful if you have a tablet. You can insert your own text, audio recorded comments. And it's a great tool for accessing information multimodally, so by hearing it and reading it. I'd mentioned the document markup tools, digital highlighters. These do allow you to extract text that you've highlighted and organize it in one more concise document. So again, really beneficial when it comes to generating your own study tools. And again, really all of the toolbar features within Read and Write work together. So once your text has been pulled out and condensed, you can then listen to it, add your own comments, and so on and so forth. That really feeds nicely into the Audio Maker tool. Again, this is just a screenshot of the interface. Any text that a user highlights or even copies into their clipboard will show up here in this interface, and then it can be converted into an MP3 file. So it really makes text information portable. It can be loaded onto a cloud drive, onto a mobile device, and just made to play in the background while you're working on something else. And again, it really feeds into that multimodal way of learning. And this text can then be used, or this feature can be used to pull out text that you've already highlighted in the feature set we looked at before. And then lastly, there is the talk and type tool. So again, as it sounds, you simply would be able to dictate any text. It works again within Microsoft Office, Google Docs, anywhere where there's a text box to be filled. And it's really helpful for generating ideas and brainstorming. And then later on, users can go back in. You have to dictate your punctuation, so that can add an extra layer to things, but just in the way of idea generation and putting together a big block of text and then later on going through and fine-tuning and editing, it really can't be beat. In the way of caveats, though, you would need to have a quiet environment in which to use this tool, of course, and just be aware of your voice. But the fact that it can be used without any additional training is really nice. And then lastly, to reiterate, with the University of Windsor's campus license for this tool, Sherry should be sharing a link, or there should be a link going up to a download page along with installation instructions and some quick start guides. So we encourage all of our university community to check this out. If you have an @UWindsor email address, then you can access this tool on, I believe, up to 5 of your own devices. And that's all I had. So I'm going to pass it over to Lori.
Hi all. I'm just going to grab and share my screen here. Just give me 1 second. Hi, so I'm Lori Stellarchuk. I work in the Office of Open Learning. I have been working at the university for 20 years, so I'm my later third of my life, I suppose you would say. I'm blonde, I have fair skin, and I'm presenting from my office at home, and I'm thrilled to be here. And I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about Yuja. And the name sounds kind of fun, kind of funky, but it also sounds kind of weird. So I thought I'd share a little bit about what that actually means. So Yuja stands for Sanskrit to weld or join together. And this is a multimedia tool that it is used for. And it is something that's been available on campus since 2021 for all faculty, students, staff. And you can log in at uwindsor.yuja.com, and that'll be coming in an email a little bit later to you. Or for instructors who have enabled it on their Blackboard site, you can access it through Blackboard as well. It's a web application, so everything is online, it's cloud-based, and it also has a mobile app as well as a downloadable customization for recording and editing. So it's a fairly versatile tool, and it also hosts files. So not only is it a streaming for videos, it also is a place you can use as a repository for documents and MP3 files, all different kinds of things can be all bundled up into one. It's a pretty versatile tool, and I've worked with a lot of software, and I really like this one. It's got a lot of cool stuff to it. Panorama is a companion application to Yuja, and it is essentially for auditing of documents with the learning management system. And it's not deployed live across campus yet, but it is available for people to do some piloting. And I'm looking for some folks, some instructors who want to try out maybe a course in our staging server to try out and see how it actually works. I'll talk a little bit about it in a second. So one of the cool things about Yuja that I like is that it auto captions the videos that it receives. And not only does it auto caption, it provides you an interface where you can go in and create and update those captions. Sometimes the artificial intelligence comes across with some strange interpretations of what you might say, but you do have the option to go in and change it fairly easily. And there's another nice feature in there, which is a search all and replace. For example, I just did a series of videos using the term Indigenous, and it had put it in as a lowercase I and a search and replace all uppercase I's, and it all went across the whole video just like that. So it's a nice feature for the auto captioning. And by the way, and also if you had captions in another language that matched, you could also upload those too, which would allow a user to toggle between the versions of the captions that you've created. The media player, it's one of those little known features that people don't really know what's under the hood, but it's pretty powerful, and it contains a lot of customization. So this is what the end user would see to contain the video, sort of the box it plays in. And you can adjust the speed, you can adjust and access the captions, search in it, you can download the transcript. You can also do a couple of little tinkering things like caption settings. So if you wanted English or if there's another one available, you can change and add those. And another nice feature for teaching and learning is you can create comments in the video that you can download yourself. So it's a nice way to access and then ingest the material as well as manually work with it yourself. Now, Panorama, this is what I was talking about in pilot phase. This is where the learning management system will connect to it and then provide an instructor with a visualizer, which looks like a little bit like a gauge, on the accessibility of the document that's been uploaded. So things that show in the green range are fairly accessible. Things that show in the red range, you got to go back and fix. And it gives you the information on how to fix those things too. It also will transfer the document that has been uploaded into multiple formats, including a tagged PDF, an EPUB for e-readers, a high contrast option, or just see it on the web option. You can also listen along, a text-to-speech, just like the other two applications you were hearing earlier. You could download a text file as well as a Braille file, or create an audio MP3 for you to access as well. So it has a lot of nice features in it, and it is in the piloting phase, like I said. And then the last feature I just wanted to mention is that Yuja itself really focuses on accessibility of the user interface. So recently they've updated their software capture, which is the application you can download to your system to work offline. And they put things in like higher contrast, a different palette. It allows users to use this a little more easily. So in a nutshell, Yuja, available for everybody on campus. It's a video enterprise platform. Panorama is the companion accessibility audit checker, and you'll get the email with the link to get started. And I will pass it over now to, I believe, Craig.
Thanks, Lori. Let's get my slides open here. All right, thank you for coming to the Accessibility Awareness Days. My name is Craig Brown, and I'm a middle-aged white male with short brown hair and blue eyes and a light complexion. I'm wearing a gray sweater, and I'm sitting in my office with a virtual background of a wall with some framed art. I've been involved and employed with information technology services for 20 years, and my area of expertise is messaging collaboration, which includes Microsoft 365. So you're probably familiar with Outlook email, calendaring, OneDrive, Teams, and SharePoint. And the current slide on the screen being displayed is my biography with my picture. Today I want to talk about some of the accessibility features of Microsoft 365. The current slide is a picture of Outlook in the web, in a web browser. Microsoft has made it their mission to create a best-in-class applications with accessibility built in from the ground up, designed to meet the needs of people around the world with different abilities. And Microsoft 365 here at the university includes Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Outlook, OneDrive, Teams, SharePoint, Forms, and those are just a few of the products that we have in our Microsoft 365 stable. Fortunately, I only have a few minutes today to talk about some of the accessibility features. So at the end, I do have my contact information. So if you have anything in particular that you're looking for, feel free to reach out and we can discuss one-on-one and see how the Microsoft 365 package can hopefully meet your needs. And Microsoft 365 is free to all students, faculty, and staff on campus. You can use it through the web or use the downloaded programs like Microsoft Office and Teams. And I do recommend that you do use the downloaded programs because they're going to have the most up-to-date accessibility features. The first option or accessibility feature I want to talk about today is with Microsoft Teams, and that's live captions. So Microsoft Teams does have several accessibility features that anyone can use. And again, most of these will work best in the Teams program. So I do recommend that you use the Teams program or the Teams mobile app for the best experience. You might find if you are using the web browser, some features are not available just because of the limitations of different web browsers. So the first feature that I want to talk about is live captions. And you can see on my screen that I do have a picture of a Teams meeting being attended by 6 people. 3 people have their cameras on, and you can see that live captions are turned on. So, which means that down at the bottom, it's actually going to caption what somebody is saying, and it's going to put their name in front of the caption. So it's going to use speaker attribution so that you can follow along. And you can actually turn this on right now if you wanted to. In your Teams window, up at the top right-hand corner, there's 3 dots next to the red hang up button, or it might be in the middle. So if you are looking at my screen, you'll see the 3 dots either in the middle or at the top. You can click on those and you can turn on the live captions. And that will then start captioning what I'm saying and displaying what I'm saying on your screen. It's important to note that these captions are not saved. So this is a kind of real time. They're not saved at all. If you do want the captions saved, you need to use a feature called transcription, which I'm going to show you in a second. Another important note to the live captions, there is an option on your screen to change the language. However, if you change the language, that's going to translate what's being said to everybody in the meeting that has live captions on, not just you. So you want to be very careful that, if you do want it to translate into another language, be aware that that's going to translate it for everybody using the live caption option. If you are presenting, the best way for live captions to work is to speak clearly, slowly, and directly into your mic. And that way the AI will be able to translate the live captions as accurately as possible. Teams also has a built-in noise filter that you can use as well to cut out background noise. Another feature is the Teams transcription. That's under the 3 dots at the top. You can click on Start Transcription, and that will actually post a little sidebar that will translate, create a transcript in real time, and also save that transcript as a Word document that you can access after the meeting. So just be aware that if there is anything being discussed that's personal or confidential, and you do have that on, that will be captured in that Word document. Another feature inside Teams is the immersive reader. So any text message that you have in Teams, whether it's a chat or in an actual team itself or in a meeting, you can click on the little text bubble, click the 3 dots where the emotion buttons are, like the thumbs up and the heart. You can click on immersive reader. And the immersive reader will actually change your screen to make it easier to see. And there are a few options under your immersive reader. You can change the text size, the spacing, the fonts, the colors. You can break words into syllables, and you can also identify parts of speech. And again, you can translate things right from here as well. So that is pretty handy. And then quickly moving on to some Outlook accessibility features. Outlook also has an immersive reader built in. If you're using Outlook on the desktop, you can click on View and click on Immersive Reader. On the web, you have to open up the message, click the 3 dots, and show an immersive reader. And there's also a Play Your Emails function. This is a really cool function if you're using Outlook on your mobile device for Android or iOS. You can play your emails, and it can actually tell it to reply and delete messages, etc. So you don't have to necessarily be, reading them on your screen. And finally, most of the Microsoft products have something called an accessibility checker. This allows you to check the accessibility of your document. So here's an example of my PowerPoint presentation that I created today. I ran the accessibility checker, and it pointed out that I was missing alt text, had some slides with duplicate titles, etc. And it gives you the option to correct them right there. So again, a lot of stuff to go over in 5 minutes. If you do have any other questions, feel free to reach out. You can contact me at extension 2743 on Teams or at uwindsor.ca/help. And now I'm going to pass it over to Mike Fisher.
Thanks so much, Craig. One sec, I'll just share my screen. Alrighty, so thank you very much, everyone. Great to have an opportunity to chat with you. As mentioned, my name is Mike Fisher, and I'll be talking a little bit today about our Drupal web platform and accessibility. So identify as a male, I'm wearing glasses, I've got a gray checkered shirt on and brown hair, and I'm just sitting in my office here in the IT department at the university. I'm a proud UWindsor alumnus, and I've been a staff member here at the university for 16 years, and now currently work with the web services team in IT services. Just a quick overview about web accessibility. So the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act does require by law that all websites and files uploaded to those websites be accessible. And to do that, we follow the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG, or WCAG, sorry. As part of that, just following those, we look to follow those guidelines, and that kind of sets what we're looking to follow there. So as part of that, there's 4 broader web content principles. So we're looking to make web content perceivable so that it could be perceived by the user using many senses. It's operable, so you can use it with a mouse or a keyboard, or you could browse the website in different ways. It's understandable to the individual who is viewing the content, and it's robust so that it works with many different forms of any different tools or different platforms. So broadly, we're looking to make our web content, digital content meet those principles. Here at the University of Windsor, we use a platform called Drupal. It's a content management system, so it allows us to set a template for our website and manage our entire web presence. And then within that, we have content editors who can access and create their own websites. To support accessibility, we make sure that all content editors are trained before they're given access, including an overview accessibility. We audit all sites for accessibility before we put them live, and then we'll periodically check in and do accessibility audits as well, just to ensure that best practices are being followed. As far as Drupal training, our website is uwindsor.ca/Drupal, and there's a lot of great content there in terms of training videos, guide, information on how to make accessible content for various, both on the web and for digital documents. So it's a really great resource, and I recommend anyone, anyone in general, but certainly if you're a content editor, to make sure you're keeping up to date with what we have on that site, because there's a lot of really great information to keep your content accessible. And then we've got monthly synchronous Drupal and web accessibility training sessions. So I mentioned that accessibility training was required for any of our editors. So you can go to that website, and there's a link to sign up for to have our trainer take you through and walk you through how to use Drupal and how to keep your content accessible. So something we certainly recommend and require. And then there's also opportunity to book, there's twice a week drop-in sessions. So if you'd like to just chat with one of our team members about any issues you're having with your website, or about how to make your content accessible, then certainly log in. You could use Microsoft Bookings to book your appointment, and we're happy to chat with you on any topic you may wish to discuss. Within Drupal, one of the tools that we do have that we discovered in the training on the website and through the sessions is the Drupal Check Accessibility tool. So you can see on my screen, we've got the Drupal toolbar, and we're focused on the top left, where you can select the Drupal Check Accessibility tool and look to work with that. So this can run on the content that you've provided to the website. So you can see in our first example here, the accessibility checker has identified an issue with link text for remediation. So we've got the user interface has popped up here with an error, and has identified that read more, the link text there for users to be able to navigate. They need a little bit more information about where they'll be going. So the tool is very helpful for issues like this one. And as well, another example, here's an issue where alt text needs some remediation. So on the screen here, we've got an image that's on the website that relates to applying for a bursary, and then the user interface has popped up indicating that the alternative text is empty, and that proper alternative text needs to be applied here in order to make the page more accessible. So just a couple examples. We've actually got a video on the website that kind of takes you through this, and it's a great tool we recommend for all of our content editors. As far as the future for web accessibility, we're looking to migrate Drupal to the newest platform. So there'll be lots of opportunities there for us to upgrade the template and look at what tools may be available to best support accessibility, and we're investigating web governance solutions. So right now you can see some of the tools we're using to audit pages on a one-off basis. We're looking for tools that'll allow us to automatically scan our entire website and bring forward to content editors any issues they may have, so they can see reports and see how they're doing from a accessibility basis. Thank you very much for the opportunity to chat with you a little bit. Again, I highly recommend going to uwindsor.ca/Drupal. So it's got all the information I've talked about and more to kind of help with whether you need training, whether you want to watch some videos, whether you want to look through some guides on accessibility best practices. So highly recommend anyone look to check out that our website there. So thanks very much for the opportunity to chat with you today.
Thanks, and thank you to all our presenters. It was just meant to be a high-level overview on some of the technology tools that we have available here at the university. So it's 12:01. We have one question that came in, so we'll answer that quickly, and then we'll move on to the rest of your day. But from Rob had put in a question that's for you, Anthony. Can read and write extract text that is embedded in an image?
Great question. Yes, there is I didn't have a time to go, unfortunately, through all of its features, but there is a screenshot reader that can be used to draw a box simply around any text that appears on a screen, and it'll perform an OCR process on that and pull out the text.
Okay, great. Once again, thank you to all the presenters. It was just meant as an overview. We are going to be sending out an information package later to everyone with some links for other detailed information. We'll have our list of speakers as well if you want to reach out to them for more information or to find out if training is being provided on the topics that they presented. So again, join us next week. The topic is accessible spaces and places. It's 11:30. Another virtual event, and I dropped in the Q&A box the link to where to go to register. Have a great week, everyone.